Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Business Motivation Podcast. This is episode number 16 of the podcast series so far. Just want to say thanks for those who have been watching and thanks for your patience because I think it's been a while since an episode has been released. So thanks for your patience. And with us tonight, we have Mr. Sheldon Patterson, the founder of Sheltech AC and Accessories. That's Sheltech AC and Accessories. All right, Mr. Sheldon, can you just give us, a better word of introduction for yourself?
Good night, everyone. Hi, I'm Sheldon Patterson. I am the founder of Sheltech AC and Accessories. I've grown up, I've heard the term jack of all trades and master of none. And I dare say I am a person that I'm a technical person. So, and I love using my hands. So I tried a lot of technical areas and I realized I fell in love with AC and refrigeration.
Okay, so we're gonna get into that later on as we, progress the conversation. And you spoke about falling in love with this kind of thing. To be honest though, I didn't know you're this kind of person at all. I mean, all I know about you is that you work for the government. But no, this is a new spin of things. And, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to you about this business of yours. So without further ado,
Yes, sir.
let's just get back into it. You were telling us about how you fell in love with this thing. How exactly did it begin? Because, this is new to me and maybe to other people watching. So let's have it.
It started, I am a car guy. I love auto mechanics. So I started with auto mechanics first, was in love with auto mechanics. And, I remember something went wrong with my AC in my car. Couldn't get it work. So coming on the road, I think rain was falling at the time. And, when the car doesn't have AC and rain was falling, that mug on the car glass. So, I had to do something. So I went to a friend of mine who was an AC. And it was fascinating how the AC system actually works. Like that sparked my interest. And from there, I just love it. However, I didn't stop there. I remember I bought an AC for my house, air conditioning unit. And another friend of mine who installed it, came to install it. And from there, so, I can do all of it. Actually teach me how to do installation. And from there, it was love at first sight.
All right. That's a very interesting story. Sometimes we develop skills in times of adversity. And seeing that you had an issue with the car and you had to find out a solution. So based on what you just said, so you do both AC repairs for both vehicles and household installations. So that's pretty cool. But the
And commercial.
accessories, commercial AC as well. So like for business places and so forth.
Basic.
Okay, that's great. It's good to be versatile even within your field. I just want
Yes.
before we go any further, let's explain the accessories part. And that sounds like a bit, extra
Well,
down to the AC.
uh, if I hear about this one-stop shop business,
Okay,
but a
yeah.
lot of persons don't know me per se when it comes to the technical area. Because to mention a few, I normally install cameras also,
Oh,
security cameras. So and I work on phone, laptop. So that would capture the accessory part.
Okay.
So
So,
it's not just AC alone. It's a whole. Remember, I told the person it's a jack of all trades.
hmm,
I
okay.
try to capture that jack of all trades in that accessory part.
All right. So for those who are listening, you know who to go to, if you have an AC issue, you know, issue with your phone, stuff like that, you know who to go to. Okay, that's very interesting. It's a good thing I have your number, because who knows, something might come up, right? Anyway. Well, that's really good to hear. And it seems that you have mastered a few of these trades, even though you're a jack of all trades. And that's good. But I do want to ask you some questions though.
No
Uh,
problem.
so if I have an AC unit, what are some of the signs that tells me that something is wrong with it?
Well, the major sign is that you're not getting any coolness. It's blowing hot here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you like water leak inside the room. That's sort of signal to say AC needs to be serviced. It's not just to put up an AC. There are times when you have the AC in the room and you turn it on and you find yourself getting a little sick.
Oh,
So check the AC unit. Reason being, when it's turned on, it actually captures dust, a lot of dust in the place. So when it's not serviced on time, it has a lot of dust and smoke and so forth. So you're breathing those things inside. It influences you to the sick.
all
So
right.
it's very important to service and
All right. That's very good information because thinking about it, this thing can be very good in terms of preventing you from, damaging your health. And in this time of summertime, when people be using their air conditioning units more than ever before, yeah, you need to get that maintained so that you don't get sick in the summer, guys. So if you see any of those things going wrong with the AC, you know who to call. All right, cool. So going back to your story now, you work for the government and you do this kind of, technical thing. Like, how do you balance it out? God, this must be difficult. And of course, being a father as well. It must be hectic now. How do you deal with something like that?
well, it's very difficult to balance at that because there are persons or clients calling for you to come and service their stuff. But based on how I learn to schedule things out. So most of the time that I'm work on the weekends like Sunday. And if I do work in the week and I work in the late hours sometimes. So it's kind of difficult to balance. So we're now actually getting persons to actually work with. If I can't do come there, I'll probably send somebody. Well, I'll send somebody to come and do the assessment, and then if it needs my expertise, then I'll schedule the time.
All right. So I see some good points being mentioned there, and one of which is collaborating. Sometimes you cannot do everything by yourself, and you need extra help, and that's good. In terms of finding work-life balance, people in the audience, feel free to, give me a shout out. I don't know if I've been watching the More for Your Mondays podcast that I do with Monifia Mo Maitland. Yes, we talk about that kind of thing all the time. So for those who are watching, if you want to be like Sheldon, who has found a way to manage his time, feel free to give me a shout. My links will be in the description along with Sheldon's links to his social media. All right, cool. So
If I
uh,
may say something to mind also, that I think is very important in this day and age. I think we all should strive to have a network.
Ah,
Because there are things that I can't do, but I can refer you to a reputable person. So it's very good to have a network to work with.
right. That's a very good point that we have emphasized so many times on this channel. Your network helps to determine your net worth. All right.
Yeah.
So have a group of friends, man. People who know things, you know. Don't
Yes.
just, people who are not very, valuable in terms of, their knowledge can be, they can just be regular friends, but, to be a part of the network, you have to bring value to the table. So it's good to have a network. So when, who knows, when you fall on hard times in terms of, being stuck in your business ideas or schedule or whatever, you can call on somebody to help you out. I mean, it's great to have that kind of thing. I can't emphasize it enough. So thank you, Mr. Sheldon, for hitting that point home again. All right?
Yeah.
Very important. So one of the questions I do want to ask though, what are the difficulties in terms of doing this kind of business?
Difficulty is going on a job. Well, there are difficulties, but the most one that I've encountered, in this field, starting up, is going on a job. And when you go on the job and do the assessment, the job is, I may say, bigger than you.
Oh,
Meaning that you'd never encounter a situation like that. Because you have different brands of AC units, and sometimes they can give you error codes. And if you don't know what the error codes are, you can't solve the problem. So this is where also networking come about. So you have persons you can contact and say, hey, work up on this, and you ever work up on this before? And they'll tell you if they have encountered it and tell you how to solve that issue. So when you actually solve that issue now, if you work up on that issue again, oh, I know what to do.
all right. That's very good. That's some very good points there. And of course, emphasizing the whole networking thing again. Listen, for those who are listening, for those who are watching, it's better you call for help than just say, oh, I can do it, man. I can figure it out. And end up doing something wrong. Imagine how bad it would look if Sheldon went there and, tried to do it all by himself and end up destroying the AC unit or, damaging it in some way. Then he would have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So it's better sometimes we have to swallow our pride and say, all right, I can't do this, and just, seek the help. And it's a learning experience.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
All right, because at the end of the day, what really matters, the customer being satisfied, right? Exactly. So if you have to call for help in order to make it happen, that's what you're gonna have to do. Yeah. Oh, I thought you had something else to say. All right. I'll just continue. Yes, and these things that you are gonna meet upon that you've never experienced before, don't panic. It's a part of the whole game. It's a part of the whole learning experience, Even people experience like Sheldon still have a lot of learning to do. So, I mean, first off, just do not go into business with the idea that you know everything. All right, you do not. Trust me, you do not.
You'll definitely fail if you actually say, hey, I know everything, because trust me, you don't. Because if we actually analyze certain situation every day, the manufacturers come with a lot of different specs, different equipment. So if you don't know how to operate with them, yeah, and the next thing you have to keep abreast with new things that come up, so you can actually go with the time. So you have to have the mindset to develop your knowledge every single day, learning new things as you go.
Very important point. I have had podcasts before where I've spoken to persons about being immersed in their field and what they're doing so that they can be sharper and better with each passing client. All right. And it's important to do that in whatever field that you are in. So I've spoken to musicians on this podcast, photographers. I know this gentleman here fixes AC units and stuff like that. But the same principle applies. You have to be knowledgeable about the field. Even when you think you know a lot already, still try to find something new to find out. And that way you only get better. But you speak about not knowing everything and stuff like that. But I want to ask you kind of a touchy question, but has there been a time when you have quote unquote failed, as in even when you asked for help, you couldn't get any? And how did you deal with that situation? How did you recover from that?
Wow. The first time I encountered a situation like that was luckily the client that I had was a friend. So it gave me the opportunity to learn because I have made the mistake that I know how to solve that situation. But it only got a little worse.
Oh wow.
And I may say I got a bit frustrated because, feeling a bit embarrassed. But the thing about it, what I learned, and the client even helped me to learn that I'm taught me like this, never give up. Never give up. If you realize you're failing, it's better you speak to the client and say, hey, I've never encountered this situation, but I'm going to do my research and come back. It's better you do that than you're there trying to fix and making matters worse.
Well, that's true.
And what I've also learned, communication is also the key. Always communicate with your client. Always. Keep that line of communication open. If you're going to do this, you can speak to them and even educate them about what you're doing. So they feel more comfortable and say, hey, I'm confident in you that you'll get this job. So communication is very important.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. I mean, Sheldon is dropping the knowledge, guys. This is very important, as he said before. He's dropping some good knowledge here, man. Because especially that point about, explaining a thing or two, people will more likely to refer to your authority on this. And so, as he said, they're gonna build confidence. And I mean that point on how, he dealt with the situation that got worse, the key thing is use it as a learning experience and never give up. All right. And we've said that many a time on this podcast. So if you don't get anything else from this, know that you don't know everything. Do not be afraid to admit that you don't know everything. All right. And never give up. All right. So
If I may also give an experience in a different field.
Of course, man. Go ahead.
I started doing auto mechanics. I went to started as well as went to drive. Didn't get to finish everything coming up. Well, looking at engine specs coming up from back in those times. And comparing to now, my encouragement to a lot of persons, especially in the technical field, always keep yourself abreast with the new things coming out, new cars coming out. Because if you don't educate yourself about these new cars, these electrical hybrid vehicles, then you'll be left behind. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it will cut you. Especially with these new electrical cars, because the batteries that they use generate a lot of current. If you know what not doing what you're doing, you can do serious harm to yourself.
Wow.
So it's great you get yourself abreast with these new equipment.
Right.
And I can say it goes straight across the board, whether AC and technical year.
All right. Very important there. I mean, having the knowledge about how things work can save your life, right?
Definitely.
Very important. So, we see how, constantly educating yourself because the world, in terms of technology and stuff like that, is moving very quickly. And
Yeah.
so, if you're not, exactly, so if you're not constantly abreast with certain things, you're gonna be left behind. And even if you do get left behind, you have to at least notice that you're behind so you can catch up. Alright. Because if things pass you by, you don't notice, well, can't help you.
A rough one.
That's gonna be rough, man. So yeah, that's a really good sort of information that you just let off. And for those who are, in the audience, I hope you're really listening to what this gentleman is saying. All right, so as a closing thought, I think you have said a few things that could be considered closing thoughts, but can you just give a word of encouragement to somebody out there who might be, an up and coming, person in this field, who just want some encouragement? What would you say to them?
As I've kept on saying, get yourself knowledgeable about new things. But I'm not sure if you ever heard this phrase before. Well, you should have. It says kill is poor. Trust me,
Well,
kill is poor.
I know about knowledge is power. I know that one.
Kill is poor. Well, knowledge also poor, but kill is poor. Reason why I said that. It's consider me to be a professional, yeah. But having a bit higher. Working a 9 to 5 is one, but when you have a skill that you own, when I say you own that skill, you study, you know what you're doing. When you own that skill, you can do, there is no stopping. So I will also encourage every young youth, every young person, not only male, both male and female, get a skill.
Well, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I do agree with that. I really do. In this day and age, how it is. Sometimes we see how many people have gotten, laid off during COVID times and stuff. And, some of those people have skills and it might have helped them to climb through a difficult situation. So you can never know what happens. For those who are Adventists, for example, you might get laid off because of your beliefs, or it's hard to find a job because of your beliefs. It's good to have something. And that's what this channel is all about. Not everyone will have a full-fledged business because that's a different kettle of fish. But just to have more power in your hands to say, all right, you're more in control of, your finances and totally, emphasis on the word totally, depending on, somebody else. So take it from us, get a skill. I'm trying to learn a few skills myself in terms of marketing and stuff. So,
If I may, there is no problem in having more than one skill.
No, definitely not. I've at least two.
It's all about being marketable out there.
Right.
That word, marketable.
Trust me. Very, very important. Again, Sheldon is dropping the knowledge, guys. Have to be marketable in this day and age. If you don't have a marketable skill and you have to learn one from scratch, just learn it from scratch. I mean, it's gonna take you some months, maybe a couple of years, but Try your
Yeah,
best to learn.
man, you're never too old to learn. You're never too old to learn. And the next beauty about for me, I I searched a lot of technical areas. As I said, installation of cameras, use work with lots of computers and so forth. But I was wondering why am I leaving from one to the next, one to the next? Until I was a bit worried because it's like I couldn't test. I don't feel like I can settle on one. But the AC, I realized, so this is my passion. If we
Right.
can do something that will solve, trust me, it makes things a lot more easier.
All right. So we have emphasized, the passion on this channel many times as well. In terms of learning more than one skill, I advise that you do that, but also do not bite off more than you can chew. All right, that is also very important because we don't want anybody to burn
I,
out because they're doing too much. All right. So Sheldon found his passion, right? So the AC is the main thing, but he can do other things as well. So I think that approach is the better one to take. He's not completely burning himself out, and because his family needs him, right? So all right. So Sheldon has said several final words, dropping the knowledge. So in case you didn't catch everything, just rewind the video. No problem with that. All right. So this has been another episode of the Business Motivation Podcast. I hope you have learned something. And of course, the links to both our social media will be in the description. And I guess we'll see you next time. Yes, Sheldon, you can say goodbye and say, one final thing.
skill is power. Skill is power. But one thing I should have mentioned before also, put God first. Put God first.
All right. Amen. So
And
this is a goodbye from me, Matthew Farquharson, the business motivator, and Sheldon, the founder of Sheltech AC and accessories.
yeah,
Hope you all have a good night and we'll see you in the next one. All right. Peace out.
have a good one.